one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Roger. Can we get Council President Moore?
Your mic is not on. So for those of you joining us online, we did take roll call. We've seen all of you. It looks like our side was muted. So you're good to go now.
Who's online?
We have Debbie Pericini, Deb Hodgkin, council members, John Mackey, and Liz Ellis.
Thank you.
Okay, Council President, can we get
A motion to approve tonight's agenda?
second? Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? It passes. Mr. Mayor, I have a suggestion. Yes. Because we have a number of council members calling in remotely, there usually tends to be a bit of a lag when they respond with a vote. If maybe we can make sure that there's sufficient time given after each vote to get their input, to hear them, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yes, okay. So I don't have anything on my agenda for number 5. Is there something missing or?
We have a
We have a motion to approve the agenda?
We did.
Aberdeen Fire Department Peer Support and Comfort Canine Program.
Okay, that's number 6, okay. Let's go ahead with the presentation.
Okay, thank you. So on the agenda tonight, you have a agreement for between the city and the Hearts for Heroes program. What the Hearts for Heroes program is about, it's a canine support program that the department has embarked on as part of our health and wellness program for our firefighters. To give you a brief overview of that program, I'm going to turn this over to our safety officer, Battalion Chief Troy Palmer. He's the one that is going to be overseeing this within our agency. So, Troy.
Thank you, Chief. Mayor, Council, thank you for your time this evening. Here tonight to hit slide, talk about kind of the focus for our safety team within the department took this year. So after coming out of COVID and vaccine mandates and an increased call volume, the opiate epidemic and whatnot, it's really placed a lot of extra stress on an already stressful profession in the fire department and as well as our brethren in the police department as well. And so we initially, as a department safety officer, I wanted to do kind of 3 different things. I wanted to create and implement a customized wellness app through Cortico, which gives all of our members access to clinicians and self-help surveys and things like that. The other thing I wanted to do was revitalize our department chaplain for a number of years, and with the help of our fire service specialist, Mitch Housden, we got that up and going again. So we currently have a chaplain. And I wanted to get a bunch of our personnel trained in critical incident stress management and have them then be part of the county-wide team. So we had 9 members of Aberdeen Fire attend this training, and we also had our department chaplain and our administrative assistant, Megan Hamilton, also went to the training. And that was taught by Dr. Nancy Bolt-Penrod, who's kind of a nationally renowned clinical psychologist. And she's gone to like 1,200 different major incidents in the country. She's from San Bernardino, California, and she's went back to 9/11 and did all sorts of things. So we talked to her and we brought up that we were looking at possibly doing a therapy dog program. And she was like over the moon. She's like, the benefits of this is absolutely amazing. I will support you 100%. I'll write your mayor and council letters, whatever you need. So she was really positive on it. And so really that kind of gets to the 4th thing that I hadn't planned for, and that was researching and implementing a comfort and therapy dog program. So earlier in the spring, and I'll have them stand up, Kylie Turnquist, Alan Cottom, and Chuck King all come to me, and to a lesser extent, also Cody, and the dog. And I'm like, well, there's a little bit more to it than that. So I put it on them. And they did a lot of research and they found this Hearts for Heroes program. They found things that were going on nationally. They did all all the research and homework, and they brought it to me and presented at a safety meeting. And then that, in turn, I did my own research, and I couldn't help but get behind them 100%. I think this is gonna be a fantastic program for us. So next slide, please. So the purpose of the Comfort and the Therapy Dog is to provide, access to the animal for daily peer support contacts in the station therapy and for local critical incident stress management needs to benefit the members' health and well-being. I should note that the critical incident stress management team is a team that works out of Grace Harbor EMS under our medical program director, Dr. Buck. And those of us that have had the training, we sit on that on a volunteer basis. As an example, Transit had a traumatic call about a month ago, and members from our department volunteered their time to go out and provide critical incident stress management debriefing for them. So with that, a therapy dog can be a trusted companion, allowing firefighters to express their emotions and process their experiences healthily. These dogs serve as a source of comfort and stress relief, helping firefighters find solace and recharge. And so as an example, in December of 2017, one of the worst California wildfires, a member of the Alliance of Therapy Dogs identified a clear need for support within the California first responder communities and organized a group of 7 therapy dogs and their owners to visit firefighters at their base camps. Working together, the small team was able to provide the firefighters a few moments of emotional relief from their fire control duties by interacting with the therapy dogs. And at the time, hundreds of firefighters have been battling flames for weeks with little relief or contact with their families. And these firefighters were also dealing with a line of duty death of one of their own. I think you already went to the next one for me, so perfect. So just another question you may be saying is, what are the benefits to having access to a comfort or therapy dog? Well, they provide comfort and support, which can improve psychological well-being. Studies have shown that they can reduce cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone, or the hormone associated with stress, while increasing levels of oxytocin, which is a hormone associated with social bonds and anxiety reduction. Reduction in heart rate and blood pressure readings, reducing stress and improved mood. And you'll like this one, Chief, but I guess it's even shown to increase productivity.
We shall see.
So therapy dogs have trained and integrated so personally within fire departments that they can now independently identify when a team member is stressed. The dogs can now provide the station staff with support or comfort without the individual having to seek it out. Not surprisingly, trained canine fire station representatives are known for their unique and socialized ability to increase department morale. So I want to tell you, you probably haven't heard a lot about these because we're the second department in the state of Washington to implement this program. This is big in California, New York's on board, and it's big there, and it's exploded. So I think we should be pretty proud that here in the state, I think we're right behind Key Peninsula as the only other fire department that currently has one. So there we go. Most importantly, what is the cost to the city and the taxpayers? 0. So all training, feeding, veterinary insurance costs are shared by Hearts for Heroes program out of California and by the lead handler firefighter Chuck King. Okay, I think you've heard enough of me talking. You want to get down to business and probably meet Stormy. So I'd like Chuck to come up. And Chuck is our lead handler for Stormy, and I'd like to let firefighter Kelly Turnquist to come up as she will be the secondary handler.
Hi, this is Stormy. She's about 9.5 month Barbet. This is a breed. Everyone says she looks like a doodle. Barbets are the ancestors to a poodle and like a Bichon Frise. So that's why everyone thinks they look like a doodle. But she is a Barbet. They're a French water dog, basically. I've been with the department for 5 years now, firefighter EMT. I'm a member of the SISM team that Troy had described. Let's see. There's only about 500 of these Barbet in America. They're only recognized in the AKC in 2020. They are an ancient breed, but America just decided not to use that breed in the AKC. But they're a medium energy dog, so they're very, very trainable. You can see for 9 months old, she's doing really good. Hearts for Heroes is ones that kind of made this possible for us. They supplied the training. I went down to California a few weeks ago and got her Good Citizenship Award, or certified. So now we're working on the therapy dog level certification. So that'll take a little bit of time, but we'll work her through it. Let's see. Their estimated career is about 5 years. After that, we can reevaluate, but they usually retire after 5 years because it's exhausting for them to go to the station every third day and spend 24 hours with us needy people. Other than that, she is on Instagram now and Facebook, and we did that through the request of Hearts for Heroes because they're a nonprofit and they accept donations. So the more word we can get out about the program, the more dogs they can get out to other fire departments. So if you can look it up on Facebook or Instagram or find their website, Hearts for Heroes USA. And Stormy is Comfort Canine Stormy on Instagram and Facebook. And you can find Hearts for Heroes and their Paw Platoon, which Paw Platoon is basically their CISM program with dogs. So, you got any questions for us? Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I love it. I think it's great. And Stormy is an absolute beautiful dog.
Thanks.
I have a number of questions, and I think you just answered one of them. So Stormy won't be living essentially at the fire station.
No, that would be exhausting and probably not very healthy for her. She lives with me, and anytime I'm on shift, she's on shift. So she's full-time through me, but to put
Okay.
them in 24/7 in a fire station is just not healthy for a dog.
Okay, and so then how does that help the firefighters who are not on the same duty shift as you?
If they have an incident where they feel they need the program, we'll come in by volunteer. So,
And then I was wondering about the training and such. I'm assuming then Stormy is not gonna just be roaming free within the station house. They'd always be on a lead or a leash of some kind,
so
always controlled.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
wouldn't be
sir.
running out into the street on the.
No, sir, we have a policy and with certain guidelines and things and lead handlers and
I
secondary.
was just wondering how well trained she'd be and if she'd be able to run free and do all that. Kind of surprised it's not a Dalmatian, but no, it's great. Thank you very much.
And to kind of add on to what you're saying, she will be available at shift changes, so she'll hit the other shifts at shift changes as well. And then, also I spoke with Chief Dale earlier too, so if APD has an incident or something, that they're trying to work through, then obviously Chuck would make himself available to come in for the police department on any incidents. And then, as he said, volunteers time with our county system team.
She smelled my bunks.
Well, if there's no other questions from the mayor or the council, I think we have one final thing to do. And,
I've got one. May I be recognized?
You may. Go for it, Liz.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome Stormy, and I think she's a wonderful addition to the department and the city. And I was just wondering if she's available for home visits or drop-ins.
So we are planning on going out to like the hospital or some of the senior living facilities and trying to get her experience through that. If anyone wants to drop by the station to come and visit us, they're more than welcome. Yeah, she's not going out on calls at all, so she's not responding in units unless specific need, and that is approved by our battalion chief.
No other questions? Well, thank you. I'm so happy we have one in the fire station because I love dogs in there. It's so helpful.
okay, so we have one last thing. We have a tradition in the fire department. Whenever we get new firefighters and they pass probation and whatnot, that we do a pinning. So I will turn it over to Chief Golden.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, as Township Palmer mentioned, we have that tradition of whenever you get through your probation that you get a badge. So we have actually a cloth badge of ours that we're going to put on Stormy to signify that she is one of our de facto firefighters for us. So let's see how well she does. Yeah, good job. All right, that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay, so now we're open for public comment, and if anybody'd like to get up and say what a wonderful dog she is. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes and start with your name and your ward or your address, if you would. Wow, this is like a first. Okay, seeing no comments, then we'll move on. Thank you. Now we're going down to the council president tour for the consent agenda.
Yes, a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda, which includes minutes from the November 13th meeting, accounts payable and payroll.
Second. First and second, is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, passes. Thank you. Don't really have a mayor's report today, but I would like to say, I'd like to thank the Parks Department for the extreme amount of effort that went into putting the live tree in Zalathco Park, and getting it lit has been a challenge, but, oh, no, it's not going yet.
Not yet.
But just imagine how beautiful it's gonna be when it.
The anticipation.
It's not live either. Yeah, it is large tree. There's a little doity one there, and then
Yeah, I
there's the
saw
big
them
tall one.
putting the sticks into place.
Yeah, yeah,
Our tree is to hide the power panel.
there you go.
The tree at City Hall does look very nice.
I
though.
thought that was the tree, and I was thinking, what a dinky little tree we have. Cause I remember we used to have big trees.
So that's my report. Good. Oh, there's some events happening downtown this winter, so not this winter, but through December. There's a dog parade and a bike parade. Moore's on K. So there's also a window decorating contest on the 7th, so there's a $50 prize for voting and a $100 prize for 2 windows downtown. So, anyway, so if you get a chance, go downtown. Okay, so now we'll go with council reports. Councilperson Lawrence.
Yeah, Public Works, a few of us went on a tour, Councilmember Gaken and Brado and myself went on a tour of some of the facilities. We went to the dam, for the waterworks, and the filter system. It was pretty neat, pretty impressive, and we ended up at the treatment plant, sewage treatment plant, which was, pretty smelly endeavor. It was pretty interesting, learned quite a bit. Thank Nick, the city engineer, for taking us.
Okay, thank you. Councilperson Francie.
I took part in the 98 Plateau Roundtable and the Museum Collection Committee meeting, as well as helped out with another conservation district cleanup, Wilson. That was a good time.
Thank you.
Yeah, Councilmember Ellis.
Councilperson Ellis.
Thank you, Mayor. I have an update from the Grays Harbor Historical Seaport. The Lady Washington is in dry dock in Port Townsend. She's getting a lot of work done on her electrical and safety systems. And the hope is that she'll be back in the water in July for a short sailing season. And then she gets hauled out again fall of 2025 for the balance of repairs. And in 2026, coming back to Grays Harbor. You can follow the progress on her restoration on YouTube. and it's youtube.com/@Lady Washington 1989. And that's my report.
Thank you. Councilperson or Council President Sworn.
Earlier this morning, I attended the groundbreaking at the port for Terminal 4. It was excellent to see so many elected officials, whether myself and the mayor or county commissioners, and even some incoming senators, all there to support the progress.
Thanks. That was a good event. Any other comments? Online? I just wanted to comment on Deb Hodgkins up there. That's the way it looked when I was being scolded by my mother when I was a little kid. Sorry, I had to say that. Okay, so no other comments. Let's move on to staff reports. Let's see, City Administrator Clemens.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple highlights. I am off this week, so if you've been trying to get hold of me, I'll check my email, but I did take vacation for the entire week, so I will get back to you as soon as I can. I also met with the state, along with our IT team, I met with the state auditor's office regarding the breach that we had a month ago or so. And to go over the processes that we took in order to kind of correct the issue, and then our financial processes as well. So we'll be communicating with them in the future as well, and taking into account, they're going to compile a report and make some recommendations for us for the future. I also met with Greater Grace Harbor and their consultant who's putting together the Recompete grant, which is a federal grant that cities can apply for, disadvantaged cities can apply for, to create jobs and to connect people with jobs. As you know, Grace Harbor has the highest number of people within a prime age, which is 25 to 54, who don't work. We're at about 15%, where the national average and the state average hover around 8 or 9%. That is something that we're trying to do to close that gap. And so Aberdeen will play a major role in that, considering that we are the economic hub and the commercial hub of the county. So Aberdeen will play a very major role in hopefully meeting the numbers that they want, so that we can bring funding to our county. Clallam County last year received $35 million to revitalize their natural resource industries. They're very similar. That's good for us to kind of see what they are doing, because we experienced something very similar to them in the fall and the decline of the timber industry in our area. So we'll keep an eye on what's happening up there and how they plan to use their funding in phase 1 and 2. We did receive funding for phase 1, which is to create a strategy. So that's what we're doing now. We have approximately like 1 to 2 years to create that strategy and then present that in order to apply for phase 2 funding. I also just lastly attended the Greater Grace Harbor event for Meet the Commissioners. I had a chance to meet the new commissioners that are coming in. That's Commissioner Rick Hull, who will be representing our district, and then also got to meet Commissioner Georgia Miller, who will be representing the second district, the East County district. So hopefully we'll get to know them a little bit more, and once they are confirmed, set up some meetings with them and get to understand what their priorities are a little more. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to point out that for that recompete, that we were just one of 26 cities in the state to get that. So I'm pretty happy we got it. Thanks. Are there any directors that would, Director Barnum?
On Saturday, December 14th, you can join Grace Harbor Conservation District and the Aberdeen Parks Department. We'll be planting native trees and shrubbery along the creek at Stewart's Park. It's at Stewart's Memorial Park, Saturday, December 14th at 10 a.m. There's a volunteer flyer on the back table, and it's also on our website and on our Facebook page. There's a QR code you can scan to sign up in advance. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other directors? No? All right, let's move on for council action with Finance Chair Sedor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First off tonight, we have a request from finance recommending that the city council approve the creation of a utility rate advisory committee. I move that we accept this report.
Second,
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion?
I was just curious how long each ward had to select their representative to the committee.
Good question. I think we want to try to do it probably as soon as possible, maybe, hopefully. It's not realistic to get them started by January, but maybe by February.
We were hoping that maybe using the month of December to advertise, and the selections would come from each of the wards. So, ideally, if you're able to, if you have any questions about what we've compiled, the guidelines that we've compiled, please let me know. But we'd like to start by January because, the council had recommended that we come back a year after the last, approval or adopted rate for the utility, for the EMS rate in August. So we'd like to be able to get them up to speed and to make a recommendation to the council by August.
Thank you.
And the finance, had a lot of questions regarding this. We went into a lot of detail. I think most questions were answered and it seems like, a reasonable thing to proceed with. That hopefully will be a benefit and get more citizens involved in the whole governance process and understanding how the city works. They won't actually be setting the rates that have come to council to set rates, but they'd look at everything and make some recommendations.
Okay, is there any more discussion? Okay, so there's been a first and second motion, request recommending that the city council approve the creation of a utility rate advisory committee. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passes.
And Mr. Mayor, in kind of concert with this, it's not on the agenda, but during finance committee meeting, it was suggested that I'd like to move that the council asks city staff to put some time and energy together in analysis and study and then providing a report to the council on how we might, trying to think of the wording on this, estimate whether we can create a low income and or low income disabled rate and what that might mean for our overall utility rates in terms of if we reduce it for X number of people on the low income disabled side, how much we have to increase rates on the upper end of that or outside of that in order to balance the overall budget. But I'd like to move that we ask staff to look into this and bring us back a report.
Second?
Second,
Okay, it's been first and second, and I'm gonna try and read this, but I have no clue what it was.
It's just have staff come back with an analysis on utility rates for a low income disabled rate.
Okay. So we're voting to have the staff provide an estimate for the
An analysis.
an analysis of how our lowest utility rate customers.
If I
Yeah, please.
I want to better understand. So this is for an analysis of a low income and a low income disabled rate. Is that correct? That you would like us to bring back what that would look like, what the impact would be?
Yeah,
or-
how it might look, how many ratepayers would be affected? What would be a suggested target level cutoff for the lower rate? And at a certain suggested rate, how much would have to be offset by higher rate from the remaining ratepayers?
And do you have a time frame of when you would like this?
By end of first quarter? Is that realistic?
I will aim for that, and if I need an extension, I would like to come back and make a request.
Thank you.
Okay.
Councilmember Ellis also has discussion.
Yeah, I
Go
would
ahead.
like to amend your motion, Councilmember Sedor, to include looking at what other progressive kinds of rate measures the city can make. So we look at creating a new category, but what other measures can we take that make these rates more equitable across all of our users?
I'll accept that amendment.
Is that a second?
Is there any discussion on that?
Second.
I've got a question on.
Yeah.
How are you gonna analyze,
Your mic.
how are you gonna analyze the impact if you don't know how many people, until you get an application from somebody, you're not gonna know if they.
No, but there's actually data out there, like Grace Harbor Public Utility District reportedly has statistics on the number of people who qualify under their low-income program. And so we start with do we want to not have it be as at that level? Do we want to have it at a different level? We can use it as a starting point.
Okay, so we got a first and second for Councilperson Ellis? All in favor, pardon me? Yeah. All in
Mr.
favor?
Mayor, I think Councilmember Hodgkin had comment as well.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Yes,
Councilperson.
yeah, it's my understanding that Coastal Community Action Program and possibly the utilities company have both offered assistance to low-income people in the past that were having a hard time, meeting their utility bills. And with the cost of living going up so much in the last 4 years, and the wages not really, meeting that rise. I'm hoping that maybe we can check with Coastal Community Action Program to see how they might be able to assist lower income people in Aberdeen with their burden.
Is Councilperson Seaver?
It was also noted during the Finance Committee meeting that of approximately 9,000 ratepayers, 20 during this current monthly cycle had their water shut off because they couldn't pay their water bill. But of course, then we'll be working with those. But that's about 1,000% of the ratepayers who weren't able to pay their current water bill.
Wait, Mayor, I hear,
Yes.
sorry, I get what you're coming from, and I hear that floated around a lot, but I don't think it takes into the consideration, the families that are making it a priority to get that bill paid, because if you don't, your house gets condemned, you feel that your kids, I mean, it could spiral out of control, so maybe they're missing meals, maybe they're not getting their prescriptions filled, maybe they're not putting gas in the car, so I don't think that can be the sole metric that we can use to say, hey, people are struggling or not.
And I apologize, it wasn't my intent to indicate that that was the measure or the metric to be used. It was just for informational purposes. I do understand where you're coming from and what, the struggles of many citizens. That's why we thought it would be good for, to kind of do some more analysis and see if we could come up with some recommendations for the future in terms of adjusting the rates, coming up with a low income rate, coming up with a low income
I
disabled.
appreciate that, thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? Okay, passes. Okay, thank you.
Now, we have ordinances, we have 4 tonight. The third reading and final passage of Bill 24-08, an ordinance amending sections of AMC 3.76 to increase the tax on cable television services by 1.5% and utility tax by 5%, effective January 1st, 2025. I move that we adopt this ordinance.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, could we do a roll call vote, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Please.
Ellis,
Yes,
Francie,
Yes.
Gaken,
No.
Hodgkin,
No,
Lawrence,
No.
Mackey,
Yes.
Morrison,
No.
Gartini,
yes,
Fredo,
Yes.
Sedor,
Yes.
Swore,
Yes.
Taylor.
No.
That motion passes 7-5. Mr. Mayor, this will be ordinance 6716.
Thank you. Next, we have the third reading and final passage of Bill 24-09, an ordinance adopting a supplemental budget to change the 2024 appropriations and expenditures as specified. I move we adopt this ordinance.
second,
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
This will be a roll call vote.
Thank you.
Ellis,
yes,
Francie,
Yes.
Gaken,
Yes.
Hodgkin,
yes,
Lawrence,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Gartini,
yes,
Fredo,
Yes.
Sedor,
Yes.
Swore,
Yes.
Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 12-0. Mr. Mayor, this will be ordinance 6717.
Thank you. Next, we have the third reading and final passage of Bill 24-10, an ordinance providing for the 2025 levy upon all taxable property within the city of Aberdeen, and move we adopt this ordinance.
Is there any discussion?
Ellis,
yes,
Francie,
Yes.
Gagan,
Yes.
Hodgkin,
yes,
Lawrence,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
Morrison,
No.
Gartini,
yes,
Fredo,
Yes.
Sedor,
Yes.
Swore,
Yes.
Taylor.
No.
Motion passes 10-2. Mr. Mayor, this will be ordinance 6718.
Thank you.
And finally, we have the third and final reading and final passage of Bill 24-11, an ordinance adopting the preliminary 2025 budget. I move we adopt this ordinance.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
This will be a roll call vote.
Thank you.
Ellis,
yes,
Francie,
Yes.
Gaken,
Yes.
Hodgkin,
yes,
Lawrence,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
Morrison,
No.
Gartini,
yes,
Fredo,
Yes.
Sedor,
Yes.
Swore,
Yes.
Taylor.
No.
Motion passes 10-2. Mr. Mayor, this will be ordinance 6719.
Thank you. Right now, we'll move on to public safety with Chairperson Hodgkins.
Mr. Mayor, I'm gonna go ahead and deliver the public safety report
you.
tonight. So this is just a reminder from APD, last call. The Aberdeen, Hoquiam, and Cosmopolis Police Departments are proud to announce the 5th Annual West County Citizens Academy starting in 2025. The Citizens Academy is being offered at no expense to attendees. Classes will start January 14th and will be held on Tuesday evenings from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the Aberdeen Police Department. There will also be a few Saturday classes held for attendees to participate in some hands-on law enforcement activities. The academy is approximately 12 weeks long. Applications are available at the Aberdeen, Hoquiam, or Cosmopolis Police Department stations or available at www.aberdeenlaw.gov. The class is limited to 20 students. Applications will be due by December 20th. And then we were also given some statistics for different calls for APD here in the last year. Calls for trespass just for this year, 2,815. That's up 14% from the year previous. DUI, 178 calls, up 58% from the year previous. Traffic stops, 5,277. They are being very proactive there. That's up 38%. Overdose response, 201 calls. That's actually down 7%. Criminal citations, 3,695. That's up 154%. Shoplifts surprisingly down, 505 calls. That's 21% down. And moving on to agenda items. We have a request from Public Safety recommending that the City Council approve the fire chief to sign the forest land response agreement. Amendment number 2 between the Aberdeen Fire Department and the Washington State Department of Natural Resources. I move that we adopt this report.
Second?
Is there any discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
Chief Golding, I'm curious, if I understand this correctly, this is if there's like a forest fire nearby, we're gonna kind of help out, right?
It's twofold. So there's that element of, actually threefold. There's that element assist us if we have something within the city limits. There's also the mechanism for us to participate in the state wildland mode with the Department of Natural Resources for wildfires across the state and for us to be reimbursed for our time and equipment.
So I guess the crux of the question I have is, and this is not to denigrate our firefighters, are our firefighters trained and equipped to deal with forest fires?
Minimally. It's a totally separate beast than structural firefighting. It's a different discipline. We have I like to call it awareness level of the urban wildland interface of when a wildfire approaches an urban area. But when it gets to the actual wildland fire, we do lack in that a little bit. And that's actually one of our goals, to try to increase that level of training, so we're a little better prepared for that.
Are we in providing more of like a support role, but we don't actually send our firefighters into the wildfire to battle it, or do we?
So we do have some, when we do the mobilization with the state, so when we send resources to Eastern Washington, for example, to assist, we send people that are trained and certified in that level. So they do varying jobs of, they could be on a line, or they could be there as a paramedic that has the training, doing a medical standby. You know, there's a whole list of different duties that we assign them to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? In that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, all right, passes.
Okay, we have one more request from Public Safety recommending that the City Council authorize the mayor to execute the MOU between the City of Aberdeen and Hearts for Heroes for the Fire Department's Canine Support Animal Program. I move we adopt this report.
Second?
Is there any discussion? Seeing that, all, wait a minute.
I just think it's a great thing that we're embarking on it.
It wasn't that
Okay, any other discussion? Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it carries. Wait. All right, so now we'll move on to Public Works with Chairperson Lawrence.
Thank you, Mayor. Have a public hearing to start out with. This is the date set. This is the date set for the public hearing on Bill 24-13, an ordinance amending AMC Chapter 15.40 related to the maintenance of vacant commercial buildings in the downtown business district. I move that we open this public hearing.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're now in public hearing. Anybody like to come up and just give us a comment that's related to our discussion? Seeing none,
I move that we close this public hearing.
Second?
moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the public hearing's closed.
Okay, moving on to reports. We've got a request from Public Works recommending the city council authorize the mayor to execute an interlocal agreement between the city of Aberdeen and the state of Washington for public works emergency response assistance. I move that we adopt this report.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried.
Next is a request from Public Works recommending the city council authorize the mayor to execute the contract usage agreement, allowing the city to utilize any of the statewide contracts, cooperative purchasing agreements, or legislatively directed contracts or procurement of goods or services. I move that we adopt this report.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Councilperson Sedor?
City Administrator Clemens, so if the city is going to look at buying something, whatever, this allows us to kind of tie into a state procurement system, right? But are we only going to use their system, or are we gonna look at it as one avenue, or will we consider other options if we find we can get something better outside the system?
Actually, I'm gonna refer this one to city engineer Nick Bird, who's here in place of Director Sanger.
Okay, so in many cases, it's born out of convenience to utilize the state contracts. And so if it is a scenario where we know we can competitively get a better price if we're pushing something out, then it makes sense for us to push something out. But if we're trying to get a new police vehicle, it doesn't make sense for us to put together an RFP knowing that there's one already out there. So it's gonna be a case by case basis where we would use something along those lines.
I just don't want us to forsake the opportunity to get something cheaper just merely out of convenience and expediency.
Understood.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, carries.
Moving on to ordinances. A resolution continuing the city of Aberdeen support for a basin-wide solution to flooding and aquatic species restoration. I move to adopt this ordinance.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All right, let's get a roll call. Oh. Okay, sorry, Councilperson Ellis.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to point out that the Chehalis River is the longest unencumbered river on the west coast. And although the proposed dam sounds very interesting and that it's taking fish passage into account, it will still nonetheless change the nature of this last wild river.
Any other discussion? No? Okay, a roll call? Is this a roll call? Oh, I thought I had it this time. No. Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it passes.
This will be resolution 2024-25.
Okay, now we're moving on to ordinances. Second reading of Bill 24-13, an ordinance amending AMC Chapter 15.40 related to maintenance of vacant commercial buildings in the downtown business district. I move that we adopt this ordinance.
Second.
The person second, is there any discussion? Seeing none,
I move that we accept this second reading as a third reading and move it to closing.
Point of order, Councilmember Lawrence. I think we actually have to vote on the second reading first, then move it to the third.
Okay.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Seeing none, all right.
I move that we, accept the second reading as a third reading and move it to closing.
Second. All right, first and second, is there any discussion on this? All right, a roll call vote. I had help.
Ellis,
Yes.
Francie,
Yes.
Aiken,
Yes.
Hodgkin,
yes,
Lawrence,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Bertini,
yes,
Fredo,
Yes.
Cedar,
Yes.
Swore,
Yes.
Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 12-0. Mr. Mayor, this will be ordinance 6720.
Thank you.
Okay, first reading of Bill 24-14, an ordinance repealing ordinance 6191 and Aberdeen Municipal Code 13.56.515 relating to fluoride. I move that we adopt this resolution with ordinance.
Is there any discussion?
Councilmember Al.
Councilperson Ellis?
Thank you, Mayor. There was a recent finding by Judge Edward Chen of the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California, who ruled that the EPA must issue new rules related to fluoride levels in tap water. The court wrote that this finding does not conclude with certainty that fluoridated water is injurious to public health, but it found that the plaintiffs had adequately demonstrated an unreasonable risk of harm. But that was based on flawed research. And if you look carefully at the reports that describe the flaws in that research, it totally debunks that fluoride is injurious to health, and in fact reiterates that it's been a very important public health measure. I just think it would be really harmful to our residents and water users for us to take fluoride out of the water system. As costs are going up, the cost of toothpaste is more expensive. People will be cutting corners and not buying fluoride toothpaste for their young children. Whereas when it's in the water, everyone can have access to it. I'll be voting no.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Councilperson Morris?
I think if there's even just a little bit of risk when it comes to kids, that's too much. So still the same, I'm gonna be voting yes.
Thank you. Councilperson Moore?
I know it's not necessary for this, but I was going to suggest a roll call vote on the topic.
Any other discussion? Councilperson Gagan?
On our tour we took this weekend, they had a pallet of fluoride on the ground. And the first thing you notice when you look at the packaging is a big skull and crossbones on it. This is the most noticeable thing on the packaging. And it just, I found it humorous that that it literally says, don't consume on the outside of the packaging, and we're putting it in our water intentionally. So I think it happened to happen a few days ago.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Councilperson Cedar?
You have to take into consideration quantity. Certainly, any chemical like that in any huge quantity.
Obviously, yeah. This was odd that there was a skull and crossbones on it.
Councilperson Taylor?
I'm just a little curious, if the fluoride is so good for you and helpful, why don't they put it in the bottled water? You know, if it's so good for you and so helpful, I'm just curious. I don't know.
I know that, it's in our water already to a degree, all water, unless it's removed. Councilperson Cedar, but it's also an operating expense to the bottled water producer. Why should they absorb that cost of doing that when they have no legal requirement to do so? Councilperson Hodgkins.
Yes, I just want to put a note in that not everyone reacts the same way to fluoride. Some people have had a very poor reaction to it, just like vaccines at times. Some people have a very poor reaction to the flu vaccine. Other people benefit from it. So because there are other ways of getting fluoride, I would just say that there are other options, and we shouldn't force it on everyone because there are people that don't have a good reaction to it. So I'll be voting yes.
Any other discussion? Can we get a roll call vote?
Ellis,
No,
Ramsey,
Yes.
Aiken,
Yes.
Hodgkin,
Yes.
Lauren,
Yes.
Mackey,
No.
Morrison,
Yes.
Barricini,
Yes.
Fredo,
No.
Sedor,
No.
Swore,
No.
Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-5. Ms. Mayor, that'll be the first reading.
Thank you.
That's it from Public Works.
Thank you. We'll move on to special committee items, council presidents for.
Okay, under reports, we have a request for council to discuss and pick a date for a strategic planning workshop in 2025. I have this on here as a request, but it's really just a discussion, so motion for us to have a discussion.
second,
Thank you. Now, is there any discussion?
This is targeted for January or February. If we're looking for January, we'd be looking at a Saturday. For February, we'd be looking at a Sunday. This is just an effort to do exactly what we did last year, where we're getting together at the Log Pavilion for a review of our goals for 2025.
Councilperson Ellis?
yeah, I think this will be really valuable for us as a way of starting out the year to look at what our priorities will be. And I'd like to see like a doodle poll or something to that effect that we can each put the dates that work for us and then let the computer come out with a, here are the ones that are most likely for everyone.
Any other discussion? Councilpersons or council residents for?
Is that the general consensus? Would the rest of council prefer that we handle this via doodle poll?
I think that we've done that in the past and it's worked out well.
Okay.
Excuse me, Administrator Clemens.
I just would like to mention this one will be a little different than what we've done in the past. We plan to host, different like training that you might be required, open public meetings, that type of thing, just to kind of go over that sort of thing. We also considered inviting, the owner of Jurassic Parliament to come and to talk about Robert's Rules of Order, that sort of thing, possibly like a mock situation where we can just review those types of things. But strategic planning is something we'll talk about, and then also and I will be inviting the directors as well to present different ideas that we would like to explore for 2025. So we have a lot on the agenda, and so what I will be putting forward in the doodle poll will be like an all-day event, so. Okay.
Any other discussion? Okay.
Should we split it into a 2-day event?
If that's what you would like.
That was the purpose of this discussion.
Yeah, perfect. If you guys need a 2-day event, it could be like 1 8-hour event or 2 4-hour events, or over an entire weekend, or we can split it up into 2 weekends, however you guys would like.
We'll be looking at like January 18th, 25th, or February 2nd and 9th. other dates right now,
Why not January 11th?
not available.
That was my effort in bringing it forward tonight, is that dates are already becoming limited in the space we would like to use.
Yeah, my preference would be split days rather than a whole 8-hour day.
The 2 4-hour.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, anybody else?
And even if we could split it on the days when we're not having guests, like we could meet somewhere like more like City Hall for those of us that can make it upstairs. I mean,
Still a couple folks that wouldn't be able to join us at that point.
We can do the library. The library has a room. It's just that it would be an open public meeting. There's not really a lot of space in that upstairs conference room, but there's space at the library as well that can have, I think we can fit about 20 people tops in there.
I assume we're considering the Rotary Log Pavilion. How about this space? Yes, no?
We can, it's a weekend. We'll have to talk with the college.
Okay.
Associated.
If at all possible, I would prefer this space. Only because, okay, so like, I know David Lawrence gets it, but I'm hard of hearing in one ear. And the acoustics, and I've complained about this before, but in the log pavilion, the acoustics are awful. It's a nightmare to try and understand what anybody's saying. So if we could get this space, that'd be the best.
We will look into that. That's why we moved these meetings here, because of the complaints of the sound in the log pavilion. It was very difficult for a lot of people who were attending to hear there, so.
Thank you.
Carpet on the floor might help one day.
So from the sounds of it, I know we kind of talked about wanting a doodle poll, but we want to get ahead on making sure that these dates aren't taken, but do we want to look into the cost of here first?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll look into the cost, and it sounds like 2 4-hour sessions over the course of 2 days. Do you want 2 Saturdays or a Saturday and Sunday? I can, happy to split it into 2 days that way. Any preference that way?
Well, if we're
As long as we're just doing not more than 4 hours, I'm okay with a Saturday, Sunday, but if it was gonna be a whole day, then I wouldn't have wanted a Sunday whole day out.
See, I have to take off from work on a Saturday and Sunday is my day off, so half and half would be fine. But if it were 2 days or even a whole day on Saturday would be fine for me, but
or even a 6 and a 2 would work for me.
Okay.
But a 3 and a 5.
Somewhere in the, we'll find some common ground.
Yeah,
We'll get all this figured out.
Okay.
Okay, so there's
We're very good.
no action required.
Subway,
Yes, food will be provided because it is an all-day thing.
no pizza, Subway.
That'll get me there.
So then we could do a 7 and a 1, still get 2 lunches.
Hey.
Yeah. Okay.
No action there. So moving on to appointments. We have appointments to the Good Neighbors Revolving Loan Fund. As mentioned in the document left on all of your desks, I move that we adopt these appointments.
Second. Moved in second. Is there any discussion? Councilperson Zito, first I've heard of this. It would have been nice for somebody to tell me about it, but I don't know, when are we supposed to meet? Who puts it together?
Councilmember, Director Scott will be in touch.
Thank you. Any more discussion?
I was just curious, like, was there like advertisements put out for this, or was this just like mayor appointments, or how did we get this list of names? Just curious.
Director Scott sought out interest, and these were the
Okay,
interesting part.
okay,
Yeah, she advertised. Good.
okay, just wasn't sure. Thank you.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Right, passes. Okay, guess we go back to public comment. There was such a rush last time. Is there anybody who didn't get to finish their comment? Nobody. Just kidding.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jerry Rajic. I'm from Ward 2. I will start off by just saying congrats to AFD. I think this Stormy edition is going to be fantastic. So strong work there. And secondly, I just want to say, as someone who grew up here, has lived here my entire life, basically, and I appreciate the work that you do, but I was very disheartened to hear the votes for fluoride and moving forward with whatever comes next with that. Given the, I would say, very strong support that we've had from local leadership here as far as healthcare professionals, both dentists, pediatricians, and physicians alike. I think we have a ton of people, including our Board of Health for the entire county and our health officer who has worked here for much longer than I've been alive. I think it's really, really important to consider everything, and I understand concerns that there are some data out there that is showing that there could be risk to children. I understand that fully, but there is risk in everything that we have like in life, and it's to what Councilman Sedor said, it's, well, not exactly, but it's the dose that makes the poison, right? So just keep that under consideration. I would really appreciate if you reevaluate those who voted yes and listen to your local people. Listen to your community. You put out the survey, the people spoke. If I remember correctly, the community at large wanted to keep fluoride in the water. Those are your constituents. And resoundingly, the business owners wanted to keep it in the water. And resoundingly, every dentist, which is not many that we have here, we are very short on dentists per capita here. We are very short. They all want to keep it in the water, and that's for good reason. It's not like they're making money off of having fluoride in the water. So please, 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 I implore you, listen to your local people. Thank you, and have an excellent and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Any other folks wishing to comment?
One online.
MK.
Hi, can you all hear me okay?
Yep.
Perfect, thank you. Hello, City Council, and hello, Mayor Orr. My name is Mariah Kunz, and I actually live in Linwood. I work for our Cora Foundation, which is the foundation of Delta Dental Washington. And I've had the opportunity to speak to this council once before, and I'm speaking to you today again to urge you to maintain the city's water fluoridation program. I'm aware that this council has been considering information from a variety of sources to make the best decision on the well-being of your community. Thank you all so much for the work that you do. It's so important. And I just echo Jerry in inviting you to heavily weigh the perspectives of the medical and dental providers in Aberdeen who continue to endorse water fluoridation. You've already heard from all of those health and dental experts about the many great benefits that fluoride has for dental and overall health. So I won't repeat those points, but just to address some of what you may have heard in the news about fluoride recently. You may have heard that fluoride is dangerous to children's IQs, but this is simply not true at the level used in Aberdeen's water. I am supportive of the scientific process. I think it's super important, and I appreciate the desire to understand the best level of fluoride for overall health. But as Councilmember Ellis has mentioned, the study showing a potential connection looked at fluoride concentrations more than double what's used in Aberdeen. And the connection was only shown in countries like Iran, China, and Russia, which are just very different in so many ways from the United States. Studies conducted here in the US have not shown any evidence of reduced IQ in fluoridated areas. That's why the American Dental Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and the CDC are all still recommending and endorsing water fluoridation. Jerry also made a great point that when you're thinking about fluoride being taken away from this community, it's important to consider that nearly a quarter of Aberdeen's residents are at the poverty level. 40% of adults in Grays Harbor County don't have dental insurance, and there are only 25 dentists in the entire county, serving over 75,000 people. So it's clear that proper dental hygiene is not as easy for some people as it is for others, and getting rid of fluoridation would increase health and dental costs at a time where everyone is struggling to get by financially. Fluoridation costs the people of Aberdeen a little more than $1 per year per person, but saves the average family of four $129. I just urge the council to look at the last 75 years of scientific evidence that fluoride is safe and effective, as well as the continued endorsement by medical and dental organizations and the providers in Aberdeen. Removing fluoride right now would be hasty, and in other communities where it was removed, it was brought back after a spike in dental decay. We saw that in Juneau and Calgary. So keeping fluoride now can avoid overburdening the health system, And it would place more financial hardship on Aberdeen residents. So if any of the council members have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me directly. Happy to connect you with some experts. And thank you so much for your time and all you do.
Thank you. That was 3 minutes, almost exactly. Any other comments? Okay. Yes, for the good of the order. Wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Same here. We get a motion. I'll move to adjourn. Second.
Okay.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Peace.
Hawaii.
All right, happy Thanksgiving.
No.
Hi, Debbie.
Bye.
While I was in there, my husband and I can also tell you that I.
Well, thank you.